Welcome to another neXup podcast. We got a lot going on. Google is, man, they came to E3. They're trying to get people hyped up, presenting their Stadia. We got leaked images of the Pixel 4 that we got to talk about. We got to get started about all that got broke this week. And if you are a fan of Android, you're a fan of Google, you're a fan of tech, this is something that you're are geeking out about. Before we get started, let me go ahead and get through this intro real quick. This is the neXup podcast. It's a podcast dedicated to talking about consumer tech, mainly smartphones. I'm your host, PC747. I've been around the tech industry for over a decade. Mainly started out helping people learn how to use the device and troubleshoot it for free as a part of a tech support group. And then I went on to writing about it and eventually started my own blog and website, as well as this podcast that you're listening to now. You can find this podcast on Soundcloud, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. For me, I started from an area where actually I really was not that big of a tech person. I was actually someone who struggled using it for a while. Basically, I had to call my brother and spend 15 minutes trying to figure out how to get iTunes to show up on my PC when I plugged in my iPhone 3GS. So that was how low I was when it came to tech. And once I picked up the motor of the Droid, I started rooting it, started making mistakes, breaking it, fixing it, breaking it, fixing it. I started to become more and more confident. And as I got more confident in the tech, I wanted to take my experiences and help others who were going through the same thing. That led me down the path of just continue my passion for it. And here I am, like I said, talking about it and writing about it. And a lot of the things I talk about is mainly Google and their platform because I really am a fan of the Nexus product. Nexus, a lot of the Google products, not just Nexus, but Nexus phone, Chrome devices, pretty much a lot of things that Google put out there. Now, I'm not going to sit here and be the person that says that Google don't have issues. In fact, I am quick to point out a lot of the things that they're failing to do, mainly in their platform and anything with their software. I'm quick to jump on it when it needs to be, but I have to admit, I am a fanboy of it. So a lot of the things that I cover on my podcast, it's heavily Google news oriented or Android news oriented. So it's not going to be any different today because, we got to talk about Stadia. Now, Google is really having to deal with some other things, such as the government, they're not really happy with them right now. They feel like this company is too big and it needs to be broken down to smaller pieces. And then you got over it in the UK, they're like, okay, man, look, you guys got an unfair advantage that you got going here, where you're using your Google Play platform and Android software to push all of your software on people and rooting out fair competition. People using their devices, they're like, some of them are like, all right, what are you doing with my information? You have my name, you have my location, you got my pictures, you got my voice. You pretty much know everything about me. You have all that information stored in your servers. What are you doing with it? And why should I trust you? So you have all of that going on in an era where Facebook is having some issues and people are not really trusting all that. So surrounding all that that's going on with Google, they got that plate full. And now they're trying to push out a gaming platform in the area where, let's be frank, Sony dominates. And they've been doing it for years with PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and now the PlayStation 4. They're at the top of the game here. Xbox, not that far behind. And these are gaming platforms where they have the titles. And we've seen an Android platform try to compete in this area with an NVIDIA Shield TV. Hey, I'm the one who bought that. I've done a video on it. And honestly, I still regret buying that device. If I had the opportunity to redo it, I would not have spent that money on that. I would have bought something like a PlayStation or an Xbox. That was the better value. And coming from that, the question that I had was, one, could Google live up to what they said that they're trying to do? And could they get the titles to back them? And I'm not the only one who was asking that. There was a lot of people asking those questions. And Google was wanting to answer that. And the way they went about doing that, well, they started last week when they said, all right, let us announce or get you guys up to speed on what this Stadia is all about. Let us show you a couple of clips. Let us announce a couple of partnerships. And hopefully you guys kind of see that we're actually for real about this. And this is something worth buying into. And they felt so confident about it that they announced pretty much for those that want to jump on early, you can jump onto their Pro Edition. And if you're an early adopter, you get a Chromecast Ultra, which will allow you to play Stadia games as well as view content in 4K, as long as you have a 4K TV. You get a special edition Stadia controller, 3 months of Stadia Pro, as well as the ability to select your Stadia name. And for those that are, and that's their Founders Edition. So if you jump on the Founders Edition, that's what they call it, you'll get all that. Now, Stadia Pro, just to get you up to speed, allows you to enjoy games in 4K resolution, 60 frames per second with 5.1 surround sound, as long as you have the speeds that's supported. And if you're someone who's an early adopter, you're going to get a chance to, have Destiny 2 to jump on board. And for this, it would be $9.99 a month for a Stadia Pro. Now, if you decide to go with the base version, as they're going to make available next year, you can play up to 1080p, 60 frames per second stereo sound for free. So they're going to get people able to jump on board. Now, the devil's going to be in the details, how much of the game is going to be, and we're still waiting on that. But with E3 here, and it being a gaming convention, we wanted to see who was going to jump on board and what titles were going to be available from day one. Because like I said, what hurt the NVIDIA Shield was the fact they did not have the titles. And that really kept a lot of people, especially me, from really being able to recommend it to anyone. It's like, why would you want to spend $150? I think it was more than that when you first buy it, considering you have other options out there for cheaper and not have the games for it. So now that we get the opportunity to see here at E3 the partnerships that Stadia has built up, I'm excited. Now, I'm pulling this from Android Police, as they actually have a list of games that's going to be available. Now, not only did they have a deal with Ubisoft, who announced their Uplay Plus available for not just Stadia, but for other platforms, but you have a choice option of these games that will be made available. Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, Doom Eternal, Wolfenstein Youngblood, Destiny 2, Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, Baldur's Gate 3, The Black Hound, Metro Exodus, Thumper, Grid, Samurai Showdown, Football Manager 2020, basically a soccer game, Get Packed, The Elder Scrolls, The Crew 2, The Division 2, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, Trials Rising, NBA 2K, Borderlands 3, Farming Simulator 19, Mortal Kombat 11, Rage 2, Final Fantasy 15, Guilt, Tomb Raider Trilogy, Darksiders Genesis, Just Dance 2020, Watchdog Legion, and Marvel's Avengers. So they have a number of games, some AAA titles ready to go. And yeah, for someone who wanted to jump on this kind of early, I'm interested. Now, I'm going to be curious, one, are they going to be able to get Madden? Because for me, I want my Madden. I want to be able to get the ability to play Madden through Stadia, especially if I can play that not only just on my TV, but be able to play on my phone or on my Chrome tablet and I take it on the go. Man, I'm feeling that. And the other thing is really, what would it be the price of these games compared to what Sony is offering or charging for it? Correction. what it would cost on the PlayStation or what it would cost on the Xbox. Because, for example, let's take Mortal Kombat 11, which around $60, right? If in order for you to enjoy it on Stadia, you got to pay like $120, like twice the price. Nobody's going to jump on board. But if they say, for example, if you're a pro member, you get the cost of the game. So that's the retail cost of the game. So example, back to Mortal Kombat. If it's a $60 game, if you're a pro member, you get it for $60 on Stadia. But if you're a free member, you got to pay $70 or $80. That still may be something that's doable for a lot of people. And looking at, again, some of the titles they announced, I think there's going to be enough that's going to get a lot of people on board and excited. Now, they're not the only one who announced some type of cloud gaming platform. Microsoft just announced Project xCloud and showed it off. Now, it's not quite as ready as Google Stadia, but Microsoft have more games to offer. And if they can get that going, Google is going to have to really pay attention to make sure they can get these titles. And it's going to be a showdown, come fall to see how well this do, especially once a lot of people start playing, the service start getting, challenged, and people start putting a load on it. Will they be able to perform as advertised? And it's a good question. I was reading on 9 to 5 Google, and I'm going to pull this article back up, because I thought this was something that was telling, and it's a question that people have. And so they actually pulled this article from Kotaku, if I said that right, Kotaku. And it was interviewing the developers of Destiny 2 in regard to lag that may be a problem, especially on the Stadia. And they did talk about that. They talked about how they were preparing for that. And, something that did come up is the simple fact that, well, when you look at it, you're going to have, or lag is going to be inevitable for the simple fact that, you're basically playing a game over the internet. And, you may potentially have some issues with lag, whether it be on the server side or on your end, depending on your internet connection. And then you take the fact that you look at Stadia, in order to really enjoy the game, well, it's not like your inputs from your control is going to your TV or to your phone. No, it's going all the way across back to the server. And it's trying to register all that into a live game. And you're going to have some type of lag, but will they be able to reduce that? And, reading the article, they feel like that this issue of lag may not be a problem for the simple fact that, well, one, Stadia players have been playing other Stadia players. So they both going to be feeling the same amount of lag or dealing with the same amount of lag. So as far as the overall gameplay, even though there's lag, it's not going to feel like there's an unfair competition. But you do have that brought out there that you will have this thing or have this potential lag there. And a lot of gamers have to wonder, how will that affect my gameplay, and will it be worth buying into? Because as much as this is an attractive idea of having a gaming system where you don't need a system, where you can just pretty much have a controller and access to the Chrome browser, whether it be through your computer, through a tablet, or through a Chromecast, and you're able to play a game, man, a lot of people, especially me, are feeling that. Especially now we got people trying to kind of clean up the clutter in their house where they have less boxes on the TV stand. In fact, people trying to get away from the TV stand. As we start to see more these roll-up TVs or picture-style TV where you can hang it up on the wall. So as we get closer and closer to stuff like that, people kind of want to clean that up. And as we start getting to that era, or as people are embracing that, some things are going to have to go. And this is where, if Google can get this right, especially when you look at the free option, they could get a lot of people adopted early. And I said that last week. You're going to have a lot of people that are going to want to adopt this. And you look at the cost of a controller at $60. That means at $60 I can get in, for free. You know what I'm saying? And the only thing I got to do is pay for the cost of the game. And if the cost of the game is competitive, why would I spend the money on an Xbox or a PlayStation, especially if you have the same games here. But again, the devil's going to be in the details, and it's going to be on whether they can prove that Stadia will be able to perform on a level that is worth enjoying, especially as a gamer. You know, not just for those who are casual gamers like myself, but the hardcore gamers that, you know, live for this, that compete on this, you know. And yeah, when I was reading in this article, someone brought up a good point. You know, if I'm in a competition in these games that are world building, and the difference between whether I win or lose or live or die is based on whether or how I react, and if that reaction is slowed down by lag, well, why would I spend money on this when I got an Xbox over here I can plug into my Ethernet and make sure I get the best connection speeds? In the era where we getting 5G coming? Yeah, nah, I'm not feeling that if they can't get it right. But if they can get it right, man, I can't wait till November. I can't wait to see how this perform and see where we go with this. And I think this is going to be an interesting showdown. And yeah, if Google is for real about going all in and really doing what they say they're doing and supporting this and getting these titles and getting these developers on board, it's going to be a game changer. And they may indeed put their flag or plant their flag in another industry, and that's the gaming industry. I'm not quite ready to say, I don't think they're going to be on the level of PlayStation just yet, at Xbox just yet. But man, you got to think, especially Microsoft, they got to be a little concerned. They got to feel like Google is nipping at our heels, and we better have something ready because, yeah, Google already beat us in the phone industry. They're taking money out of our pockets with these computers as they're coming out with more of these Chromebooks, and more people are adopting Chromebooks over PCs. They cannot allow these guys to come in here and start taking money out of their pockets in the game industry. They can't. They can't right now. And Google is not feeling the pressure as much as Microsoft right now. And them putting out this xCloud, people looking at that and asking the question, how will this compete with Google? Oh, buddy. Yes, I'm telling you, I'm feeling this, and I can't wait to jump on board. There's another thing we got to talk about as far as Google. And so this broke. I want to say this actually broke on Monday. So we started seeing leaked photos of the Pixel 4. It's made available through OnLeaks and PriceBaba. We saw a silhouette of what looks like the Pixel 4, and it was like a sandwich between literally the Pixel 3 and the iPhone 11, or the expected iPhone 11. Now, when I wrote the article, I was kind of taking it with a grain of salt. And I'm like, all right, this could very well be it, you know, because OnLeaks, yeah, they have a reputation. A lot of times what they put out there is spot on. But at the same time, like, man, you know, maybe this may be an early concept because I couldn't see them just straight up, you know, jacking the style of Huawei and Apple with this new look Pixel. You know, I just couldn't see that happening. You know, I guess I was one of the people who kind of fell in love with their early images showing the new Pixel being similar to the Samsung Galaxy S10, where it was an all-glass display with the little hole cut punch out. So, well, a couple of days later, Google basically confirmed that. On their Twitter post, they actually said, yep, we're getting out in front of this. Here's a picture of the Pixel 4. And it was pretty much identical to what was leaked by OnLeaks and PriceBaba. And they put that out there Wednesday, 2 days later. So having looked at these pictures, and now it's confirmed, we're going to get a phone where it looks like you're not going to have a fingerprint sensor on the back. So either they're going to use a on-glass fingerprint sensor or in-glass fingerprint sensor, or do kind of similar to Apple where they're going to get away from fingerprint scanning and go with the Face ID or Face Unlock. And looking at what people are saying, there are like 3 or 4 camera sensors up there. They very well could be going that way. And on the back, they're going to have, looks like 3 camera sensors. So looking at that, I had to ask the question, is this something I'm feeling? Now, I'm not gonna lie. When I first saw it, I kind of started geeking out, like any Google fan, like, man, this looks lit. This is something I can't wait to buy. But now that I had a chance to kind of step back away from it, look at it some more, especially when I looked at some of the concept ideas of what we thought the Pixel 4 may be. And I just said, I'm kind of divided. In a way, I'm like, all right, this could work. We saw what Google was able to do with one camera sensor. So imagine what they can do with 3 on the back. We could really get a really awesome, camera experience, especially since we just saw them still provide that same camera experience in a cheaper device in the Pixel 3a. So we could see something magnificent in the camera department. But here's my problem. And it goes back to their reputation right now with the Pixel and the hardware. And it's the hardware. First, who's making it? You got to start with that. Because if LG is making it, I'm probably not going to be feeling it at all. With the Pixel 2 XL and the Pixel 3 XL, I just have not been a fan of what LG have done, especially with this display. I've not been feeling it. And then it also comes to, what does Google want to pack in it? Because Google has been kind of stingy with the stats. They haven't been putting in the specs that's worthy of really competing on the level of a flagship. And are they going to continue to be stingy with this? Now, on the flip side, I look at this and think, okay, when you look at what Apple is going to bring out there, this phone is going to feel like it is on a flagship level as far as looks, but for those who have been like me, who adopted a Google phone because they wanted to distinguish between an iPhone and an Android device, it's going to take away from that. You're not going to get that anymore. It's going to feel like, well, it is a direct copy of an iPhone. And that's not something that a lot of us Android fans are wanting to buy. I want something different. So, but again, until we get it out and play with it, we got to kind of, hold off judgment. Now, the other problem I'm having, with more companies going to an all-screen display, I don't know if I'm ready to embrace a Google phone that don't go that route. And it's because of the simple fact, you see what an all-screen display looks like, and you really wanting to enjoy that. You're wanting the Google to embrace that. And it almost feels like if Google do not do that, they're still going down the same road that they've been on where, they're not paying attention to what the market is showing us and trying to do something different, or, as I say, be cheap and go to the direct opposite of what people are trying to do. Now, on the flip side of that, for those of you who love the front-facing speakers, and I've talked about enjoying the front and loving the front-facing speakers for a while, you're going to get that. You're going to keep that. And for a lot of people, that may be enough to justify keeping this new design idea, especially if the bezel is not looking anywhere like the Pixel 3 XL. If they kind of make it a slim little bezel where it's tolerable and they go across the top of the screen, it's going to have a similar look to the Huawei Mate 20 Pro. And when you look at that, this may be something that people may feel comfortable adopting. Like, you get to keep your 2 front-facing speakers. You're going to still have a nice display if Google go with Samsung display. And if they go ahead and put the hardware in there, this time not be stingy with it. And what I mean by not being stingy, look, I want at least 6 gigabytes of RAM for the low-end model, with topping out at 8 gigabytes of RAM for at least a high-end model. And as far as storage, topping out at 128 gigabyte storage. None of this starting off with 32 gigabyte storage. We know why Google does that. They do it because they're trying to get people jumping on board their cloud storage. But really, in this day and age, with a company giving almost a terabyte of storage, you guys can come up off of that a little bit and put more internal storage on these phones, especially since you guys don't want to put SD cards there. So give us some more storage here, bro. Now, I really would like to see a 10 gigabyte version, but I don't think that's going to happen. Or a 10 gigabyte version with 256 gigabytes RAM. That's not happening. I mean, they would surprise me if they do that, but I don't see that happening. But yeah, if they could come up off of that, off their wallets and give us the specs and load this thing up like it needs to be and make it a true flagship, this could be a heavy hitter, something worth people buying and checking into. And we are starting to see kind of early leak photos at 9 to 5 Google have an image of somebody, looks like they was playing on in a park bench somewhere. So yeah, this is confirmed that this is going to be designed for the new Pixel 4. And I'm not going to lie, I'm as much junk as I talk about having issue with the Pixel phones, I'm always in line for the new Pixel, but at the same time, if it's not up to par, I'm quick to jump on board and, yeah, call Google out for their hardware and software. Looking at what I bought last year, the Pixel 3 XL and the Pixel stand. Well, that Pixel stand, I hardly ever use it anymore because when I did use the Pixel stand, my phone just kept getting hot. I kept having issues with it, and it wasn't worth the money. In fact, like I said, sitting there unplugged, I'm better off just plugging the thing in. As far as the Pixel 3 XL, I've been noticing some crazy battery drain. It is not just me, because I know someone else with the Pixel 3 been having issues with it. So, and plus we all know about the, publicized issues with just the phone just performing, period. So, yeah, they really have some proving to do to get people feeling like this can be a true flagship to adopt. Especially, like I said, with companies like Samsung, yet again, doing it big, putting the specs, giving us what we want. You got OnePlus, they're doing it big, putting out phones out there with 10 gigabytes of RAM, 8 gigabytes of RAM, all screen display. They're on the heels of Google. Google, they really got to step this thing up. They need to. And as far as the picture, these are early. And, as far as the Twitter page, as far as what Google's response was, it's like, since you seem to be interested, here you go. Wait till you see what it can do. And look, I'm interested to see what it can do. I just hope you guys put the hardware specs that needs to be there. And if they're able to do that, and they're able to kind of really turn this thing around, especially with that and Stadia, I think when it comes to a 2020 year, they're going to feel like, or people going to feel like this is the year to buy into Google. So as we go ahead and, continue talking about some of the things about as far as Google's platforms and kind of things that we are concerned about anytime Google puts something out, we got to talk about Daydream just for a split second. So when Daydream came to the scene, Google was wanting to kind of, and they wasn't the only manufacturer, it was Google and a couple other companies felt like, well, we can revive virtual reality. It was a big thing in the 80s. It kind of went away, and they feel like, well, now's the time to do it. Now, when VR first kind of came out, it's something kind of, it was niche. It was niche. It was something to play around with, and it had its moments. I did like the simple fact that from your living room, you can actually see, videos and, be in the middle of, like, you can feel like you actually at a museum, in another country, or actually a part of another experience, again, from your living room. And it was done in a way where, because the resolution was pretty good, you actually felt like you were there. But the problems, obviously, was the simple fact of motion sickness. Most people couldn't stand being in that headset more than 15, 20 minutes. And then you look at the simple fact when you're trying to do that on the phone, as the phone is heating up, trying to process all that, it's not making it any better. The other thing is that it kind of made you antisocial. You couldn't really enjoy that with someone else because they couldn't kind of enjoy what you was enjoying. They couldn't be a part of the experience. I felt like one of the things that should have been available early, is to allow you to mirror what you were seeing to a TV. So, yeah, let's say if you was at a party somewhere, you want to play around with it. People kind of see what you're interacting with and kind of laugh at what you're, interacting with on screen because they're seeing what you're seeing, versus just watching you, spin around in circles. And then you got to also look at the kind of safety aspect of it. you can see around you, so you bump into walls and the furniture, things like that. It had an area, when I was at the Super Bowl experience in Atlanta, I like that, they had a setup where you can put the headset on, and they had you sitting down somewhere, and you felt like you was actually on the field, and, for that, it was a good thing. But overall, virtual reality, it wasn't working. And Google kind of realized that, and we're kind of seeing them kind of pull away from that slowly but surely, as movies and play TV will not be available for Daydream anymore. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we started seeing less of the virtual reality devices on stores and it eventually fades out. I don't think you'll always still have an area where someone's going to want to adopt it, or not adopt it, but pick one up, for certain reasons. But yeah, as far as it being mainstream or going as far as Google had thought it would go, that's not going to happen. It was like I said, the simple fact, yeah, people just couldn't get comfortable with it. They couldn't keep it on their head for more than 20, 30 minutes. And, you could really enjoy what you wanted to enjoy with that type of experience. And augmented reality seems to be the way to go right now, the way of the future. Apple kind of jumped on board early with their AR kit. They saw it early. That's kind of why they didn't really jump on board with virtual reality. They saw the future going that way. And, yeah, Google's doing the same thing. And we're starting to see them focus more on augmented reality, as companies can kind of benefit from that. It to be a way to advertise the products, shoes, clothing, furniture, with a device you can actually put it in your living room, kind of see what it looks like, and yeah, see if that's something that how it would look and is worth buying. And this is where the future is going to go, not virtual reality. YouTube TV. If you're a subscriber to YouTube TV, you're going to be able to get a free month of Showtime. So for those of you who are YouTube TV, that's what you got. And last, Huawei Mate X is going to get delayed. I don't think we're surprised by this. They're dealing with all this is going on with Google and the government, but you also got to look at the simple fact that, yeah, with the Samsung Galaxy Fold, it didn't work out the way that Samsung wanted. They had to take it back and fix some things, and all eyes are kind of on the Mate X right now. Could they get it right? And I think Huawei understands that, and with all that's going on, they're going to take some time to make sure things are right and put out a product that's worth jumping on board. And yeah, as far as these folding devices, this kind of again proves a simple fact that as much as I feel like that these folding devices are the future, give it time. Let these manufacturers work out these bugs and figure things out before you jump on board. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. I think the big thing today was, Pixel 4 and where we're looking to go with that, and can Google actually come in with that and really give us what we're asking for and give a device that's a platform, or a flagship device that's worthy for customers to jump on board and really feel like this is a device worth buying. And then you look at, again, the Stadia. Is this going to be a platform that people are going to jump on board? Is this the gaming system that worth buying into? With Xbox out there, PlayStation, these are the proven names out there. Can Google really come on board in this industry and make waves? And we're going to find out. And I look forward to finding that out with you. This is PC747 with the neXup podcast. Have a good weekend. And to Toronto Raptors fans, congratulations to your team winning the championship. I'm out.